So, welcome to this week's spiritual journey. This week we have Rachel Hattersley with us. Welcome, Rachel.
Thank you. Hi.
So, Rachel Hattersley is a yoga teacher, energy worker, and a magician with bodies. And she is also the custodian of a very special and magical place up in Scotland called Drumquill. So, hello again, Rachel. Thank you so much for being on our programme today.
You're welcome. Thank you for asking, Lindsay.
So, Rachel, when did your spiritual journey start?
It's a really lovely question, actually. I've been thinking about it because we scheduled this, didn't we, for before Christmas?
Yeah.
And it didn't happen, and it feels like a really perfect day today, because today would have been my dad's birthday, and so he died almost 13 years ago, and I think, you know, it's amazing to think how long ago that is already. But that's when my spiritual journey started. My dad died really suddenly, and it kind of catapulted my eyes wide open in a different way. You know, I'd been living this lifestyle of working in financial services, senior analytics manager, working 12-hour days, busy. And I had all these dreams of what I was going to do when I retired, and I was only like in my early 30s, and I was just like, when I retire, I'll paint. When I retire, I'll learn this, and you know, and suddenly, like that sort of linear life that I'd mapped out for myself for the next like million years, where it was shattered in an instant. And I think because all of those dreams had my dad in them, and then suddenly he wasn't there. And also suddenly, I guess the greatest delusion that I had was that I thought my dad had got it sorted and he knew how to live well or a good life, or you know, I thought he kind of knew. I thought he had the answers, really, I suppose. And when he died suddenly, it really realised that he didn't. He was just doing the best he could for himself and for us, his family, and making it up as he went along. And that was kind of a massive thing for me to realise that. And it also was a massive thing because it made me think, actually, I'm living the life that I think I'm supposed to live, the life that my parents wanted for me, and I'm trying to follow my dad's footsteps. But actually, it really gave me this sort of, oh, I don't know who I am, and I don't know what I want to do with my life, and I don't know what it is I really want to bring to the world. And that really was the start, because I think in a moment when something that's both devastating and also amazing happens, it takes away everything. It took away for me everything I believed in, and it was like, okay, if we start from ground zero here with nothing, what is it? Who are you? What is it you want to bring to the world? What do you want to be, create, do? You know, I didn't know if I wanted to be with my partner anymore. I didn't know if I wanted to do the job anymore. I didn't know anything. Like, I didn't believe any of it anymore. I was just suddenly in this space, which actually freaked me out massively, and I was quite depressed for some time. But it was also the greatest opportunity and the greatest gift in the world, because I know that my path would not have looked like this if he was still alive. I would have just kept following in his footsteps. So I look back and I'm sad, you know, I would love to see him, but at the same time, it's been the most transformational gift, losing my dad. It really has.
So prior to him passing, so you said you're working in the banking world and finance and 12-hour days. Did you have any concept of anything sort of spiritual around you, or any sort of beliefs, or was it just very much sort of like you were just getting up and sort of like working and, like you said, living a life that wasn't really yours?
I don't know. I was brought up Catholic, and then had a really thing where I really detested the hypocrisy of it and the way it was quite controlling. I think at that point in my life, I had this random strange belief that, and it was probably linked to some of the Catholic stuff, which was that I should work hard and then I would get rewarded later. So I was just working in this basis. And because he died before he retired, that was the thing. So I was just working this thing where I put work before everything. Work was almost like my church. I'd kind of like idealized my career and getting on in my career. And like I had like all my weekends booked up for forever. And like, I kind of didn't have space to be with myself or meet myself or anything else really. I think I was massively disconnected both from myself and from life. I mean, I enjoyed it a lot in that I felt like I was contributing something, and I liked the ideas and coming up with strategies and making things better, and I still like that. But I don't think that I think because I turned away from the church at that, at the point when I left home, I kind of had this feeling of, no, I don't think I believed in anything other than I had to do it all myself, really. That's how I felt. Like I really have to create my own luck in this world. I really have to do it all myself. So no, it's a good question. Thank you.
So following your dad's passing, like at what point did you think, or did you feel that you needed to get some sort of, either get some extra help or have some healing or start? What made, like, where did you start?
Where did I start? Yeah, it's a good question, and I kind of floundered for a while. I asked for some time off at work and they didn't want to give it me. I remember my manager saying, we don't want it to come to that. And I remember going for counselling, but really having this sense of not being able to let anyone down and not being able to put anything down. So I felt like I was responsible for everything, and like taking care of my mom and trying to keep the job afloat and trying to pay my mortgage and all this construct of life that I'd created for myself, which was the life that I thought that I was supposed to have. So at first I didn't really feel able to make any other choices. I felt quite stuck, I suppose, within it. I felt concerned that if I didn't work and I couldn't pay for my house, I'd lose. Do you know what I mean? I felt like I was quite fearful at the time, and I don't think I didn't find it very easy to find good support. I think most people I knew hadn't lost a parent. I was still quite young. And my manager was really not supportive. And I remember going to the doctor and asking if there was a group, and he said, well, it's the normal order of things for people to lose parents, so there isn't really a group for that. So, and in the end, I became quite depressed, and it was one of the girls in my team. I just kept bursting into tears everywhere. I didn't really know what to do with myself. And she was like, you're depressed. And I was like, oh, is that what it is? Because I just like, I'd go to a meeting, I'd cry, and I just felt like I couldn't like keep a lid on things anymore. And I think work maybe gave me 6 free counselling sessions or something. But then in the end, I went to the doctor, and I was probably 6 or 9 months later. I just did my best to carry on, and I just I just got to the point where I couldn't. So I think the doctor just said basically all I could do was have antidepressants, which I did accept at the time, but I thought, no, I really need someone to talk to. And I ended up looking actually for myself, and I found an amazing charity called Turning Point in Brighouse, and they had a counsellor, and I started to see a counsellor. But I did also start to think, okay, what do I want? And I also started yoga because I had chronic migraines and back pain, and they were testing me for fibromyalgia. And I understand now that it was all grief related, but I didn't understand about the mind-body connection. So I had chronic pain, I could barely move, I had, migraines all the time. So it was funny because I was looking at different avenues, but nobody joined them together for me. So I found a counsellor, and then they were testing me for this, and then I sent me to a migraine clinic for this and a back thing for this. And I came across yoga because someone just said, at least for your back pain, go try some yoga. And there was yoga just in Cleckheaton where I was living at the time. So I walked up and went to this class. And it was a godsend, actually. Like, it became a lifeline. It was like an hour and a half where someone else was in charge and I didn't have to do anything or be anything. It was a really nice, inclusive type of yoga. And I could just do what I could do. And there was lots that I couldn't do, but it was really fine because it wasn't the kind of yoga where there was any pressure.
Yeah, because sorry to interrupt. I was going to say, because I think sometimes people's perceptions of going to a yoga class is that it's going to be full of sort of like very slim, you know, very attractive looking women and very buff men, all wearing very sort of like tight clothes in very sort of positions where you're like, I'm never getting into that. And it can put some people off guard because like they have this perception that that's what a yoga class is going to be, but it's just it's about just trying, isn't it, and going and starting, and you don't have to be able to sort of bend over and put yourself in funny positions.
No, and I also think it's about trying different classes and different teachers because like I was really lucky. I didn't know there was different types of yoga, but there's many types, which I understand now, and I didn't know that there were different types of teachers and stuff, and I just went to this local class because I could walk to it, and it turned out to be Drew, which is the type of yoga that I now teach, and it's really gentle and inclusive, and you know, I told the teacher what was going on and she would give things, and it was just do what you can, and it was just a random group of mixed people from all different walks of life, and it was really a gift to me. And I know there are some yoga classes that don't suit people, and I always say to people, well, come and try this one. It may be what you're looking for and it may not, but I think the thing that I realised after my dad died and when I started to look for help for me was that nobody else was going to do that for me, and I had to. And like at first I was fearful about trying the right thing and what was the right thing, because I was a mathematician and it was all about the right answer, and so I wanted to know whether something was going to work before I went to it or what the right thing was. And then I soon realised that actually you don't know until you've been, and that's really been one of the greatest lessons, like to go do everything at least once, and ideally maybe 3 times if it feels like it's a maybe, and see, is it going to contribute to me, is there anything that it can add to my life here, you know, even what do I like about it, what don't I like it, because it all helps me to learn about myself and who I am and what I like and what I want to include and what I don't want to include. And actually that's been the most important part of the journey, really.
Yeah, I think because as well sometimes people have this, I don't know, again it's perception, isn't it, that there's a right way to either be spiritual or get on the spiritual path or have the spiritual journey. And you know, I read some posts where people are trying to get to a destination very quickly, but it takes time, doesn't it? I mean, like you said, if you started yours 13 years ago, you know, and we're always learning on and evolving and trying new things and experiencing different things about ourselves and learning more about ourselves in depth in depth. So it's about just peeling back those layers of the onion, isn't it, really, for ourselves?
Yeah, and I also think of it perhaps a different way around now, and I think so there's a few things that like I'm aware of now that I wasn't aware of. That well, there's millions of things I'm aware of now that I wasn't then. The first is that you can never know what it's going to look like looking forward. You only can see the pieces when you turn around and look back, and that's really like, it really is always good for me to remember when I'm trying to work out, if I ever go to working out now, which I do less, but it's that actually I'm not going to know how this necessarily all joins up, but in 10 years when I look back at it, I'll be able to see. And so I think that's a really good thing to know and to remember. I wish that my earlier self had known that. And second, At first it's like peeling back layers of onion in a way, because it's taking off all the societal things. So I think for me the first bit was about undoing what I thought I was that I wasn't.
Yeah.
And then the second bit was about, well, actually, who am I and what do I want to create in the world? But I wasn't really able to meet that because I'd created this persona of who I was supposed to be. So the first bit was kind of like undoing things, like resolving some of the pain, gaining some movement, some freedom in my body and in my outlook of life. And then the second bit was, right, okay, then if I take ownership for my life, which I know that I wasn't really, and I didn't know that I needed to, or even that it was possible, but if I reached the point where I was like, if I was to take ownership and to make grown-up choices in my life, what is it that I want to be here for? What kind of world do I want to live in? What is it that I want to create? What is it that I sense? You know, what do I know? What's, you know, what are my gifts? How do I connect and relate? How do I explore? How do I experience? How do I discover? Because, like, in a way, it's like being a small kid again and starting to discover and explore and open and to. It's like, for me, it's like an opening and a widening and a deepening and a dropping, because before I was really quite closed to life and quite fearful, whereas now I see life is like, my aim is to live it, like to fully 100% live in each moment, open, present, joyous, even if it's difficult. Like, how can I find my joy or life force within this, my connection? And I suppose in a way I perhaps wouldn't call it a spiritual journey in the same way now. I'd call it a life journey, because it was about reclaiming and reconnecting to my life force and the essence of me and who I am in the world, really.
I was just thinking as well, you know, like the sort of questions that you were asking earlier, I was just thinking, oh, I wish I'd asked myself those questions when I was 16. But then I was like, but then it would have changed every year. So those questions, it would have been nice to have some sort of template maybe, you know, to say, right, every year, look, ask yourself these questions, you know, and review yourself. So who are you, you know, and what do you enjoy doing? And rather than just sort of like doing a maybe ad hoc, when something like tragic happens, whether there's a death in the family or whatever transitional phase it is, if we're encouraged to ask ourselves, like every year, you know, does my work still fit with who I want to be and where I want to be and all this, I think it would make it a lot easier for when these big transitions in life do happen, because you've already sort of reviewed yourself every year. Do you know what I mean?
And and even more than every year, what if it's a normal question from when we're small at school? What if it's like who are you today and what do you want to be in the world? Like, even every morning, who am I today and what's important to me today? How does my heart feel? How do I want to make my way in the world? You know, what's important? Like, how can I contribute to the world today? What is it that I can offer, and where can I be that I can offer that to the greatest advantage, or the greatest, I don't know the word, but the, you know, where can I create the most? What is it that here for me that I can, it is like I really feel now, like before I never felt like the universe has had my back, but now I feel like I literally am just able to, like, where can I be today? What is it you would like, or what is it you can contribute to me that together we can create in the world? Like, you know, and all the time that's how I make my choices, which is a totally different way than how I made choices before, which would have been like on wrong or right. But actually, you know, I'm here, and what can I be? What can I do? What can I create? What can I offer? Who requires this? Where requires this? You know, that's a totally different way of thinking, because it thinks about the fact that there's an infinite supply, whereas before I was like, maybe from a lack perspective, that's how I've been brought up to think, that there was a shortage, but I don't think I think there's an abundance now. I'm like, well, actually, cool, what is it I can contribute? What else is available to play with? Where else can I start? What else would like to happen? Oh, what does that tree want? Oh, what does that earth? Oh, that person needs something from me today. Oh, and there's this, and you know, it's a totally different way of living, really.
Yeah, and I think asking yourself again, like those questions, it very much brings you into the moment, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So I don't know about you, but I have found probably over the last 18 months that I am very much more last minute now. And when I'm trying to plan events, like, so I planned an event last November for York Business Week, unaware that I'd planned it for the day after the full moon. And I know now that the night of the full moon, I don't sleep very well. So I went to this event the next day with like 3 hours sleep. And I was like, oh, I need to remember next time, you know, not to plan an event like that. But like you said, like when you're asking yourselves the question, like today I've been like on it, I've felt very productive, I felt very technically minded, you know, that I can do all this stuff. But tomorrow I might not feel like that. So tomorrow I might be like, actually, there's something different that I want to do, like you said. And when you sort of, I think, allowing yourself to feel and to ask yourself these questions, then you can, I don't know, life seems to just flow a bit more easily. Do you find that when you're listening to yourself and about what you want to do and what you feel like doing, as opposed to what you think you should be doing?
Yeah,
it just sort of goes.
Yeah,
I'm dancing now, Rachel. You got me going.
Yeah, and actually, so that was my dream. I went to a workshop on the weekend, which was about our wishes and dreams. And when we shared in the circle, I was like, I want to live in a way that's totally organic and totally in flow with nature, with myself, with all living beings, you know, with every molecule of energy on this planet and in this universe and multiverse. Like, I want to know how I can totally respond to it and also flow with it and also direct it when I get the impetus. But that sort of the way that in a beautiful dance, there's a sense of sometimes we're being led, sometimes we lead, and and it changes. And sometimes it's fierce, and sometimes it's soft, and sometimes it's like undulating, sometimes it's a bit sexy, sometimes it's like tearful. And you know, actually, the thing that I really understand now is that if I welcome everything and include everything, then I can flow. Whereas before I had such a rigid view of this is right, this isn't right, this is right, this isn't right. But trying to maintain and keep all of those in place created such tension in my body, and it was so hard on me. And now there's more of a lightness and a sense of, well, for now, because nothing's permanent. And like moving here to Drumwell, to this amazing space in the middle of like nowhere with like trees and magical beings and birds and deer and rabbits and stuff, and the loch, it's like, yeah, like nature never has to pre-plan. It doesn't go, I'm going to be dropping my leaves next month. I better think about how I want to present my leaf dropping this year. It just doesn't. It's ludicrous, isn't it? And yet we've created this construct where we're taught that planning and remembering is valuable. And in some ways, I suppose it is, because we've created a society in which it is value. Sorry, that's my rabbit running underneath the computer wire, so I just picked it up swiftly. But actually, it's not valuable. Like, I mean, it is valuable because we've created a society that values it, but it's a construct that we've created a society that values it. And if you look at nature, that's not what it values. And really, my aim is to live like nature lives, because my sense really is that if we all live the way nature lives, which is to be ourselves and be in harmony with ourselves, and to be part of the whole and to be in harmony with the whole, then the world will be perfect just as it is, because we're all perfect just as we are. But we're taught that we're not perfect, so it sends us off looking to find out how to be perfect, which takes us away from our perfection. So we strive outwardly for what's already here. And so my aim really in life is really just to be with what is now. And someone once said about learning to be stupid, and I think in a way that's a good thing, and I don't find it very easy, but if we learn to be stupid without the judgment of the word stupid, but like in this moment not to know anything apart from what it is that we just know right now, then we don't make judgments or assumptions, and we don't have expectations, and we show up. And actually I think my aim really is to just show up, to be with people, to be with the land, to be with myself, to be with what we're creating here in the world, some of which I don't like, and to be with what it is I want to create in the world, and to be with how I can contribute to what other people are creating in the world, and how I can dance with those people, contribute energy to things that require it, like add what needs to be added. It's like being both a conductor and being conducted at the same time.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds lovely. That's a lovely way of putting it, Rachel. I like that.
Thanks.
Fabulous. Oh, well, listen, I could speak to you like forever about like what you're doing and about just everything that you believe in and your ethos and everything. And I think honestly, I think you have one of the most sort of like, I would describe it as like bubbly energies I've ever come across. I describe you sometimes as like a human version of a Tigger, because you're so bouncy, and I love it, just the energy that you have. Honestly, I just think it's fantastic, and I really I can't wait to see what else Drumwhill is going to sort of like, you know, offer you, and what you're going to offer it as well.
Yeah, it's exciting. I don't honestly fully know, but I know that we've been called here for a reason, and this land has such a desire to contribute to, well, I'm not fully sure what, but to anything really, everything, and it contributes so fully and freely, and it doesn't really believe in this constructed societal reality type thing that most of us live within. It kind of, because it's kind of really unspoiled, it doesn't believe in it, it doesn't live those values. So it's kind of interesting, because like when people come here, because here doesn't believe in lack, it's kind of hard for them to function from lack. And I really like that, because I have this sense of this future that I want to create, but I also know it's already here. And like this place knows it already, and it's like a meeting of souls meeting this land here, because it's like this land knows what I know, and I know what the land knows, and we kind of talk and like dance, and then like it tells me what it wants, and even like decorating it, it's like this needs to go here and this needs to go here. And it's kind of funny, because I'm on some ways I'm working blind. I get the energy of what it wants to create, but I don't have a plan. Like today, it's like I get up and like, what needs to happen today? Okay, well, I might be painting a random mural on the wall, which is actually really exciting.
I love it.
And it's challenging me, because I'm not an artist, and like it's part finished, and I'm like, I don't know how to draw ears on the deer or the squirrel, but it wants them. So I'm like, okay, then I shall do my best to meet you in that ask. And it knows what's possible, and I get the sense of the energy of that, and it excites me. But how it's going to happen, like I get a sense of like what it might be like in 30 years, but how that's going to happen and all the steps in between, I honestly don't know them. And sometimes it could be frightening, like I don't know where the money will come from, and I don't know where the people will come from, but it's like, no, but we're going to do it anyway. I'm like, okay, then we're going to do it anyway. And it's really this sense.
It's putting that trust, isn't it? And like you said, you know, you said earlier about the universe has your back, and it does. And it's just about that trust, and not necessarily always thinking about the how you're going to get to that destination, but just trusting that the destination's there, you're going to get there, yeah. And it might end up being like, I'm dancing again for you, like that. Do you know what I mean? Rather than a straight path. But you will get there, and it's just trusting that, isn't it? So yes, I'm very excited about what Drumwhill's going to become.
But also, it's worth to say, it's not even about where there is it?
No.
Because it's the way that's the other thing that I've realised. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if we never get there. But it's the way that I choose to live today that's important. Like, yeah, I love that that's there. But it's how I choose to live today that's important. If I focus on over there without how do I want to be in the world today, then it doesn't really matter. Like, something will get created. It'll either be something like what I think or it won't be. Yeah. But I'm here, and it is about enjoying each moment and being receptive, I think, in each moment, receiving what's available, sharing, but this sense of being that doesn't require anything from us. And I think when I drop into that being space, I can really sense everything's here already, you know, and I'm really grateful to know that, because before I felt such a lack, and I felt, I think, quite ashamed of myself in a lot of ways, and a lot of doubt of myself, and I always felt like I wasn't good enough. And I guess there are things that I was taught or learned or sensed from people on the way. But when I live presently now, like, how can anything not be just perfect? You know, that bird skipping along the wall, there's a woodpecker on the nuts up there. Do you know, like, yeah. I'm here talking to you, you know, there's perfection now, and it's really important to set a destination but not to attach to the destination, because if you attach to the destination, then if it gets shattered, it affects you, whereas it's actually like, okay, well, that's not okay, I need to kind of change my direction. And so being able to be is more important than where you're going. I think that's really what I've learned.
Yeah, no, I think, yeah, I'm going to leave it there, Rachel, because I think that's a fabulous place to end. Yeah, just what you just said, like, I just got like a, oh, boom in my heart. I was just like, oh man, I was like, I know that what you're saying is so true about not having attachment to that destination, because like you said, you know, potentially if you don't end up there, then yeah, it can hurt. So yeah, but thank you very, very much, Rachel, for joining me. It's been such a pleasure talking to you and dancing with you.
Let's dance again.
Yeah, so if anyone wants to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you, Rachel? I can add your links in the comments below.
Just tune in and set off and see where you end up. We have I guess I don't really know. That's quite interesting. Good. So we have a website that's just been in the process of being built, called Drumwill, which is DRUM, like a drum, and then WHILL, so drumwill.com. And we have a Facebook page, also Drumwill, and yeah, I don't know. Do you want the phone number or an email? I don't know.
If you send me the links, and then I'll put them all in the comments for everyone, so that if they want to get in touch with you and come and stay in a fabulous place in Scotland, then they can do.
Yeah. Yes. So can I say a little about that, or do we need to finish?
No, we can say a little.
Okay, so the aim for here, and whether it becomes that, is to create a retreat space. So we're going to be running retreats here, and then also that people can come. There's room for sort of, I think up to 12 really, people that wanting to do deeper work with groups. It's ideal. It's held beautifully by a loch and mountains behind, and there's 3 bedrooms in the house, and there's 3 bedrooms in the holiday home cottage. So that's one of the things that we're hoping to do. And also there is a holiday cottage which has got 3 beds, it sleeps 6, so there's space for people just to come and holiday. Or we are offering bespoke retreats, so you can bring your group and we can add in some yoga treatments, body work, walks, we can go to look at the stars because it's a dark sky park. We can go to the beach because it's only 30 minutes. There's wild swimming. So we're open to creating bespoke retreats with groups too. And anything really. So if the land here speaks to you and there's something you either want to come here for or offer or do or share or create, then we're really at early days, and we'd really love to hear from anybody that's wanting to either create, co-create, or birth something in the world, and or anyone that needs a space that feels like they can be themselves. Like, I really appreciate this place is like a home, like it's a place that knows you and recognizes you, and you can come and be yourself. So if you need to have some of that, then we're here.
Fabulous. Thank you once again, Rachel, and thank you for being on the spiritual journey. If you've enjoyed this episode, please do give it a like, subscribe, and comment below. Thank you very much again, Rachel. Bye.
Bye.